Okay, so this video just to educate or remind Nigerians, Peugeot users, some of the mistakes they make while using their vehicles, and then start expecting wonders to happen when they want to sell those Peugeot vehicles. There are some things you do to your car. If you expect that those things will devalue the vehicle when it comes to time of reselling the car. So in as much as you may actually be taking care of your car, maintaining it the best you can to minimize abuse or avoid abuse on the vehicle. But there are some things you might do which you might consider insignificant, but it could be a very significant thing, or might affect or discourage prospective buyers, or even when they eventually buy the car, they will still choose to show interest in buying the vehicle. It will affect the price they want to buy the vehicle, in as much as how much you may want to sell. How will I put it? I know days ago I've been going around inspecting cars for a client for Peugeot 406, a Nigerian used one, and let's just put it like out of 10. I honestly can't count right now, but I will just say an average of 10 406 D9 that I inspected with the engine, specific engine the client was interested in. Out of the 10 that I inspected, only two have recommended head gaskets. Now you might think, oh, what is a head gasket? Head gasket shouldn't decide or influence someone's decision in buying a car. Now, maybe for someone who knows nothing about cars, or who just, I don't know, maybe doesn't think the way I do when it comes to cars. You might know about car, but the way you think, the way you view things, your perspective on cars might differ from mine. Considering when it comes to Peugeot cars, I'm always about the details. Those who actually use my service or discuss with me or have handled their cars one way or the other, in terms of diagnosis or repairs or even purchase on Peugeot cars, you know for a fact. Doesn't mean everything will always be that perfect, but for a fact I'm always about the details, specific. In as much as I tell people that engine it's not a priority for me when I'm inspecting car. But let me explain to you. When I open your engine bay and see that paper head gasket instead of the metal one that Peugeot recommended, at least the metal one that I know that particular engine was produced with from brand new. You know what my mind will start going or start to contemplating or start thinking. Usually, what if? What if? What if? What if? What do I mean? Yes, metal head gasket. Let's assume EW10J4S. The OEM or the recommended. Okay, let's just leave OEM. For some, I will start thinking must everything be OEM. Let's just say the recommended head gasket. The recommended. In that case, recommended is quality metal head gasket. So the recommended head gasket for that car, let's just say it's about 8,000 to 10,000 naira. Just leave it like that. And then the non-recommended ones that most people in Nigeria use on this engine cost, I don't even remember, maybe last time, maybe 2,000 or 2,500 or max 3,000. So what my mind will be thinking is, for you to have chosen to use this cheap, low quality, non-durable head gasket on this your engine means you are the type that don't actually value your car that much, or you are the type that go after cheap, anything cheap, whether it's good or not, anything cheap. Hold on, let me actually switch off this. I'm supposed to. Hold on, guys. Let me put this on flight mode. Okay. So, because I really want to. Yeah. So let's continue. I don't want that distraction. Anyway, that's what my mind will come to. So you are the type that like to go for cheap things. So what if, because you are that type that always wants cheap things, want everything cheap, means you always be going for something that may be detrimental to your vehicle instead of something of high quality that usually costs higher, or at least a little bit higher than those cheap ones, which are usually fake products or bad products or even wrong products. So it will now start make me wondering, what if you are the type that, because you're always going for you to even go for something this sensitive, that is this cheap, that can affect every other system on your engine. If you could go this cheap, if you could choose to use the wrong part for this kind of thing, what if you are the type that instead of using that for 7,000 or for 9,000, because they cost higher, you are using for 5,000, 20W50 instead of 10W40 or 5W40? Or you might even be using the oil that is even thicker than that of 20W50 just to save costs. What if you are the type that if you have an electrical issue, instead of you to find somebody who understands Peugeot electrical system much better, somebody who also value these modern Peugeot cars, or understand that treating them anyhow could wreck the system. Someone who have good tools to do some of these diagnosis electrically, not just cut and join or guesswork. But because such people sometimes their services cost a little bit higher, you will not prefer to use that person that you just give him a screwdriver. Anything that looks like wire before him will just be loosening and cutting and joining and everything until he feels that maybe that thing has started working. Any other thing he damages in the process before the issue was trying to diagnose has been fixed, it means nothing. What if this type of person, it's always about negative will start coming to my mind. Now I might say, does it mean because of this small thing that you start thinking this way? If you use a low quality brake pad on your car, it means nothing to someone like me when I'm inspecting a vehicle. I won't consider it as something that, this person is not taking good care of the vehicle. Because for me, I will say, bata, is it not the brake disc that will be damaged? So I'm trying to make you understand, because when you value your car that much, if you are the type that take care of your car well, something as sensitive as head gasket is not something you cheap out. It's not something you say, let me buy. It's not something you even leave it to any let mechanic decide which one he wants. It's something, because you remember your engine has to be open to change that head gasket. So even opening your engine is something people who take care of themselves don't feel so comfortable doing. So if they are opening it, they will make sure that closing it back, it has to be something that works so that it won't open again. It has to be something that will not make the car to lose whatever power the engine possess. Or will make, I don't know. It's not something you can actually explain. I mean, you have to be, once you're not, that's why they say cars are meant for adults to be driven or owned. Because that's why your brain, you'll be able to, there are things that are not meant to be explained if you're as an adult. So if I have to explain to you what valuing a car means, how you should take your car, then I think you are too young to own a vehicle, because it's a big responsibility, financial and otherwise. So you have people make these mistakes, and while inspecting cars, once out of those two, look at how like I'll give an example. When I was expecting, when I look at it, I saw that this one have a better gasket. I was okay. Maybe he replaced the engine. This wasn't this thing, but fine. At least means the engine is still intact. At least what I mean is, either he replaced the engine or he had issue, but he removed the engine cylinder head and worked it and still put back that OEM, whether he bought brand new or this thing. It means that person care about that engine or care about that vehicle, at least to spend a little bit more to keep the engine in good condition. But when I see that pepperhead gasket, the first thing that will cross my mind is, of course, is obviously you remove the cylinder head. Now, what could have caused it? Could it be your timing belt cut and damage your what's it called? Your valves? Now, the next question is, and the next negative question is, what if maybe when they change the valves are damaged, they didn't change the valves, they went and straightened it, and most likely it was not straightened properly. Now, engine will be having small misfire or rough running, or will be noisy. Even though I might start it that time, I might not experience some of those things, because when you're inspecting cars, you maximum usually like 10 minutes to inspect a vehicle. You are not the owner of the car, so they won't leave the car with you to go home with it and do whatever you want and bring it back. You have few minutes. Some will even allow you to plug a scan tool on the vehicle, not to think of you start tearing the car apart to know what issues are in the vehicle or not. We have limited time and limited time and even limited access to the vehicle while you are doing the inspection. Some even allow you even to test drive the car. Will be like just less than 1 kilometer. They will tell you no, turn back. They won't care. If you don't want to buy, don't buy. Some will even allow you for the test drive. They say no, this car is not moving from here. If you want to buy, you buy. If you are not buying, don't buy. So there are some things you won't see as you are looking at the car. There are cars I will see. If I don't test drive the car, it won't stop me from recommending whoever that wants to buy the car to go ahead and buy the car. Yes, even when the car is stationary without being moved, there are cars I will see and inspect. I will say, okay, it's worth it. Whatever issue that will come up when eventually I drive the car after purchase won't be that major. It can be dealt with later on. Maybe the suspension might be noisy. Maybe one of the four wheel hub might be weak, so when you start driving, you start to wobble and make noise. Maybe if it's automatic transmission, it didn't show the fault while it was stationary, but when you move it, it may start showing some symptoms. You deal with it later. But the most important thing, the general wave of the vehicle was so good that, any other issue could be that minor. Based on what you've seen from the scan tool, from the condition of the electricals, the mechanicals, and the ones that can physically confirm while the car was stationary, the interior, the body, everything. Look at the skeleton of I could go on and on. But my point is, it depends on some people always say first impression. Once you start seeing some, as little as they are, is enough to start to get, or you'll be thinking of something negative about the car. I take that head gasket very serious. That's one of the things. Like I said, there are some things you can use in a car. See, head gasket, the OEM head gasket is cheaper than original brake pad. It's cheaper. For example, let's use that same 406. The head gasket of EW10J4 in 406, like I said, I can't confirm now how much it costs. The recommended one, maybe 10,000, maybe 15,000 or lesser, I don't know. But the OEM front head brake pad, I can't say for sure, but you are looking at more than 20,000. You are looking at more than 20,000 naira just for the front brake pads. But the head gasket, you are looking at about 10,000 naira, unless maybe tomorrow the price will go up, or it has gone up a little bit now. So my point is, you can use the lower quality brake pad in your car, which costs lower or almost at the same price with the low quality head gasket. But I will overlook the brake pad that you're supposed to spend more on than the head gasket you're supposed to spend less. Because to me, the brake pad is not that, even though yeah, it's an important part of the car, it's supposed to be that good so I can wait to hold the car. But someone who values, there's a way, I don't know how to say that. When it comes to brake pad, people will be like, okay, man, this one was so. But for the head gasket, this is the engine. This is a part that anybody who values his car well, who takes care of his car well, will not want nonsense there. So those are the things that will start make me questioning certain things. What if? Worst case, that is another one. It's the worst case scenario that will start coming to my head while looking at that car. It will make me to even pay more, as in to spend more time or see if I can get more time to go to start checking things that normally I will not check. Because it means this kind of person may not be the type that cares, So it means there could be some things that, some hidden abuse is so certain way. Because if we could do this chip out on this engine, it means some other things. It could also mean that truly the engine is almost going. Because for him to have done this, probably using that 20,50. So if I'm going to recommend to the client to buy the car, let us just assume that eventually this engine will fail or is about to fail. Yeah, that's just see, understand, not because you start an engine and it doesn't smoke, doesn't mean the engine is in good condition. You might go and change your rings and your car will start smoking. But if you are using thick oil, if your engine was before the rings were changed, we are running with the cooling system was running very cold all the time, or you were always racing your engine when it was cold, or your oil has already been running cold. Yeah, basically if your engine cooling system is cold, it will affect your engine oil, whether good oil or not, whether the recommended oil or not. It will affect the entire engine. Because it's no longer the rings, your crankshaft, your camshaft, the crankshaft bearing, so many parts of your engine will become weak, much weaker than even that rings you change. So starting your engine without it smoking means nothing to me until the vehicle you use. I always tell people, until you use a car for some days, that's why you can, or more than a day, or for some kilometers, that's why you cannot say, okay, the engine is sound, depending on how it behaves, especially on higher speed or lower speed, this and that. Sound alone it's not that enough. Because you may press the engine, the RPM may go up until you put it in motion, and I realize that even though the RPM was jumping up, but it couldn't carry load anymore because it's already weak. Can't carry load. If you put your gearbox, engage your gearbox, you see that at that time, even though your RPM shoot up close to 6,000 kilometers while it was, or 5,000 kilometers at idle, but with the engine, it can't even climb beyond 4,000 because it's already weak. If you try to push beyond that, you start hearing grinding sound, metal sound in your engine. But at RPM, but stationary, you might do it without feeling those things. So, you can understand that my point is, there are some things you don't play with when it comes to vehicles. Because at the end of the day, when you want to resell those cars, yeah, some people will end up buying it. But for someone like me, yeah, I might still end up recommending or buying it for myself, recommending to somebody to buy. But I'm going to point out some of these fears, some of these concerns, and maybe which will lead to worst case scenario. Or maybe this person, if he can chip out on the cooling system, head gasket, and the car is automatic transmission. It means he's the type of person that instead of buying the recommended ATF that costs a little bit higher, he will go and buy the in fact, I don't even know, maybe kerosene. As long as it looks like ATF, you pour it in your the gearbox. So meaning that I'll be telling the whoever that will buy the car, every other thing appears. That's the word I'll not be using. Appears okay. However, it's most likely, based on what I've observed, the way the previous owner treated the vehicle, it's possible that the ATF in that gearbox is the wrong one. Maybe I'm using, so it probably must have caused harm on that gearbox. So expect that it might disappoint you at some point sooner than you expect, or maybe much later in future, or may never happen. Unlike someone I will see when I look at it, okay, everything, yeah, from the look of things, this guy, not necessarily spending a lot, but at least there are certain things you don't joke with in a vehicle if you want it to serve you or last you for long. Like that's what I'm saying. It's not about whether I use the OEM brake pad or use the ordinary one that is much cheaper. You can cheap out on such things, but when it comes to certain things, certain sensitive things, like electricals, instead of you to find somebody that will do the work without doing the cut and join, you give somebody that will collect 500 naira and do the cut and join for you. Mess up, you look at it, open your engine bay, you see, look like where rat lives. Even though rat has never visited your vehicle, not to think of entering the engine bay. But you see wire cutting cords, and some of them will even be left exposed, naked, and touching each other sometimes, burning one fuse box or ECU or the other. Everywhere, mess, cut and join. I mean, it can be horrifying sometimes when inspecting Nigerian used modern Peugeot cars. Honestly, it can be very horrifying. Things you see on the engine bay, things you see under the steering wheel, things you see. In fact, peeping under the dashboard can be scary sometimes, because there are some things you even see under the engine bay, under the steering. In fact, going to under the dashboard can even be, it's like you are looking for, you want to watch, what's it called? As if you are looking for, try to remember the type of movie, this, scary movies and that. Don't stop doing these things. Stop doing. It might not be your intention. You give your mechanic, he collects money and tell you is this, is that, no, this is no matter. I mean, I've seen 508. The first time I saw it, I was surprised. I even did a video of that. That even 508 users now, people are starting putting the paper head gasket on these cars. Yeah, this is a car that the OEM, the Fullcom or whatever, the recommended head gasket hardly fails no matter what. Yet people can have to go and buy this thing. This is a turbocharged engine that runs much hotter than the naturally aspirated engine. You go and put this fake paper head gasket that might not even last you close to 6 months. And then you expect me to come and price the car how many millions? So these are, like I said, I call it a mistake. You might be good, you might be doing your best, but that small mistake is enough to affect. Because of that, what it does is, while I will be inspecting the car, yes, I'll be noting, okay, this one might be good. Yeah, this one, okay, this one, okay. But at the point, I will tell the person, but for now, wait until I see something that will, make me say, wow, immediately, it's after I must have gone round and check, and then you get to a point I'll be like, okay, out of this 10 now, maybe 5 have, of course, they all have issues, but these 5, yeah, there are some things that raise some concern, but it might be worth the risk. So let's look at this 5 again. Okay, this one, maybe he changed the engine, he still have metal gasket, or maybe he actually had a timing issue, but he still did the work properly. There are things you could go, because it's always an issue. Most times you buy Nigerian used cars, you'll be having all kinds of issues with the engine running rough, doing this, not knowing that there was a timing belt issue that damaged, maybe the auxiliary belt cut, enter and damage the valves, or the timing belt did the harm, and then they didn't change the valve. They went and did this strengthening thing, and most times when they put it, they don't strengthen it well. Engine will never run properly anymore. You'll be hearing tapping sound on the engine, you'll be hearing all kinds of sound, the power will not be there before you know it. I mean, there's always that issue with Nigerian used vehicles, for modern Peugeot cars with you that uses timing belt, because people will not listen. Change your timing belt when it's due. They will keep using it until, to them, no, they won't touch it until it breaks and damage the valves or the entire engine. And even when they do that, they will see the high quality belt. They will say, no, give me the one that will last only 2-3 months, or may not even last up to that. And like somebody say, why would I spend up to this amount to buy timing belt? I remember one man that said 407 with EW10A. I was telling the person at the workshop, this 20W50 are pulling inside this engine. It's not good for that engine. He said, okay, which oil is good for it? I said 5W40. He said, what is 5W? I said, to cut it, to summarize it for you, good for total was 9,000. Since that's total is what you prefer. Since you are putting 5W for 5,000, which 20W50, go and get 9,000 5W40. He said, how much? I said, well, I can't remember, but it's probably the last I priced or purchased was a so amount. You need to see the man's face. It was as if I was telling him they want to send him to prison. He was like, why would I spend up to this amount on 407? Engine, why would I spend this kind of amount of this amount on engine oil for 407? I was like, yeah, I just realized, some people, I just wasted. As if I know, why would I have bothered to respond to? You didn't care about the car. Look at your car, your own car self. Look at how you valued your car. Why would I spend this amount of money on 407 for engine oil? This even if you are poor, shouldn't you even value what you have as if you are richer than the richest person on earth? This is what you have. You're supposed to. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter what another person has, whether it costs more than yours. You should be grateful or appreciative of what you have, and raising, value it that high. Should be your source of happiness. So why would you feel bad that you own this thing? I mean, I just didn't get. I was like, man, sorry, I was the one that even created this mess. I wouldn't have bothered if I known you are just that. I thought I was trying to help somebody. So this is it. The same person will come out tomorrow and start telling you, oh, my 407 starts and run well. Oh, I want to sell the car. And when I come and look, because some of them, they do feel, I do embarrass them. Like I always tell people, if you bring your nonsense car to me to help you sell, I'll embarrass you. Because I won't even sugarcoat my words. If I see the cars, I'll say, no, this car is below my level or below my standard of cars I advertise. Period. I know anybody who tell that might feel bad that you are looking down or talking down on this car. Who cares? You made that choice to put that car in that condition. Look for people that have value that kind of vehicle, not someone like me. If I don't find it tasteful, I'm not going. It's below my standard. It's as simple as that. Whatever my standard is, it's up to me, and that's what I recommend. Such cars are the type I recommend. Other people might have cars that have higher standard than mine. They will be doing their thing. I'll be doing mine. So that's the thing. Imagine, like I was saying, if that person, since I've known, look at that first impression. Look at how the first impression he gave me, how he felt about his car, and how he believed that why would he spend anything more than the cost of that 20W50 oil on a car like 407. So meaning that in fact, general maintenance of that car will be horrible, because he sees the 407 as a car that doesn't worth spending any meaningful or reasonable amount to maintain. So you're supposed to use something that will kill it overnight. Yeah. So do you think even if no matter how good the body looks and the person calls tomorrow and say, please help me advertise the car, or I'm now searching for a car only to come and see that it's actually that same vehicle. I'm why searching for a car for a client to inspect. And I said, oh, this is even the car, the person. I walk away now. I won't even bother. Why would I bother to even inspect the same car? The person gave me the pressure that the car means nothing. Is oh, these are the thing. All these things, but eventually I know. So it doesn't matter whatever I say. It doesn't matter my standard. It doesn't matter my taste. Somebody will end up buying that car. It's as simple as that. So it's all about, because there's always a market for everything. Even if he doesn't see anybody that will buy the car, he will still make small money by scrapping the car. So it's not like he cannot sell it. He can't sell. Well, worst case, you scrap the car. Whatever you get from it, yeah, you move on. You know. But then, like I said, usually is the foolish one that will end up buying such cars like yours. If you are the type that make this kind of mistakes, or intentionally do them, not even mistakes. I'm not saying everybody that use a paper head gasket on EW engine or Peugeot engines that are meant to use a metal recommended gasket. I'm not saying they're all foolish or they are all intentionally killing their car, but I'm saying sometimes it could be a very, very innocent mistake, but it will affect a lot of things. It will affect a lot. People who might actually buy like people who know nothing, who have zero knowledge or know nothing about car technically, that might come immediately. If not, they will question a lot of things, and then they won't want to buy it at that price or something. They will price it very low. Of course, you can choose not to sell to them. But then one thing about cars is, before you know it, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you will even be begging, please, come and buy, even if it's 200,000, let this car leave my hand. You drop all the way from 3 million naira and keep coming down. You'll be wondering, if I known, I would have sold this car to the person that priced it 800K the first time. They'll be pricing it 50, 100, 250, to 300. Not because a clean car, people will pricing it low. No, it's because the car is a mess. So the more you see itself, the more it depreciates, it's getting worse. And the other people that will come in will be reducing, until you get a point, will be like, if you are known self, that first person that will price the car when it was still a little bit better, consider that now that it has even gotten worse. So that's the thing. Especially, another thing I will tell you guys is, if the body of your car, let's say the part of the body of your car is already intact. That, I mean, the skeleton, I always use that word skeleton. Or the part, every part of the body, everything is, maybe it's just a small scratch or this and that, but there's no big impact on the body of the car. But then the paint has started fading. If you know you cannot afford to spray that car with quality paint, don't spray it. Sell it like that. Anybody that values a car, anybody that knows will buy it at a very good price that you will benefit from. Do not go and do all this rubbish poster color paint people do when they want to sell their cars. Don't make that mistake. It devalues car very well. It's just like one of them I saw when I was checking these photos for the person. In fact, not one, about three. The body appears okay. They appeared okay. I'll use that one, not like they are okay. They appeared okay. But because of the quality, because interior looks neat, everywhere looks neat, but because of the quality of paint, in fact, not just the quality of paint, the entire job of the paint work. There's a way you paint a car, even if it's a low quality paint, but at least everywhere will still look neat. But the way they spray is as if they didn't even cover any part of the windows, the windscreen, and they were just spraying the wall paint. We are so sky everywhere. There was no demarcation between the every rubber on the car. They sprayed on it. Everything that has the only normal that they sprayed everywhere. It was a mess. It was like a 5-year-old boy trying to learn how to spray paint. It was that mess. Not to think of the quality of paint they even use. Whoever that will buy the car, even whether the number one, what will cross your mind is if this person can ship out like this, are you sure there are no accident on the car that instead of them to change the door, they go and went and use body filler? Because it doesn't mean that every scratch or every impact of the car that you must change that part of the car, no, or the body. But there are certain parts of a car that there's no point for you trying to panel beat them. If it's the fender, front fender, no, and the accident is that much, the impact is that much, don't bother. If it's the door, if the impact is that much, don't bother. It's only like if it's the tail of the car or some front of the car. There are some places you know that changing them means you have to cut it out. Then it probably may be better to panel beat. Or maybe the model of that car said the parts is not even available. There are some Peugeot cars that, you know, maybe you are even the only one using that, or 2 or 3 persons use that kind of car in Nigeria or in your town. Meaning that where you even see the body parts of the car, even the fender, even the door, you might not even see it. So in that case, yeah, you don't have any choice. I'm talking about those ones you know that are very common. It's just like 406. I'll come back to 406. The fenders are everywhere. Good condition, both brand new and the used ones. The doors, the same thing. And they don't even cost that much. So why wouldn't you just remove them so that everything will still look straight and neat? All the shapes, all the curves will still come out the way they usually are from brand new. But once you start applying body filler, that shape will be gone. You can't get it again. So if you're going to do so, but you always make you wonder, what if the person did this thing? Since he could, if for you to chip out like this, use if maybe, because when it comes to high quality paint now, I don't think you can get anyone less than 200,000. You may be looking at 150 for an above, but like I said, on average, like 200,000 above to have somebody that's really good, not just quality paint that can spray your car, paint your car, and everything will be neat. So if you know you don't want to spend that kind of money to spray your car, even though the body, everything is intact, but the paint has faded off, and you don't want to sell it like that, but you don't want to spend up to that amount to spend, don't bother to do it. Sell it as it is. Whoever that will buy it will be so happy to buy it and now go and spray. Yeah, you might not reduce small money considering the cost of spraying the car. But if you go and do that shoddy job, you know the funny, the annoying thing is the person will now be thinking, so I have to take this thing again. They will have to wash up this paint and in fact, instead of maybe if you didn't spray the paint before and you are selling 1.5, the person might price you 1.2 or 1.3, or you may end up at 1.2. So you now be looking at, okay, at least it needs up to 300k or less to go and spray this car at exactly the way I want. But if you go and do that nonsense paint, you now be looking at, you may not even be only paint anymore. If you are this cheap type of person that spray car and use poster color to paint just to sell off car, it means there could be so many things wrong with the car. Or maybe if I start removing this paint now, it's easier to just spray than taking old one that looks horrible. You may not even feel good to buy a car and you want to take your car home and look at how horrible the car looks in terms of the quality, the paint job done on the car. So these are the things. That's why I say mistakes people make. Sometimes innocent mistakes. I'm just giving you all these tips for people to know. You make that mistake. Those of us who actually go out inspecting cars, these are the way. That's why I come to details. I pay attention to all these details, not just the people that say, "Oh, the engine is sound." First thing they usually do once they come to a car, they open the bonnet. I don't know. Bonnet is not usually the first. It's not the first thing I do. But of course, if I open, even though I check about that thing, I open the bonnet and see why I crossing here and there, cut and join. I'll still walk away. But it's irrelevant. As at that moment, it's irrelevant until I look at so many things. Look at the car, the car first. When it comes to car, it's not just the engine. Look at the car, everything, interior, this and that. Even if the interior is bad, it depends how bad. If it's just the leather of the seat or the door cards or everything, it's not a big deal. Yeah, it might affect the price I will do, but it will never cross my mind like, let me forget about this car. Unless the car looks so tattered that the person is the type that don't care about the vehicle. It will not raise that same question. If this person can be this nonchalant about keeping the car in good condition, it means probably he's the type that will use cost 5,000 and use it for 2 years before even change engine oil. You know. So in that case, if you are buying, you are likely going to the engine will not last. Just pointing these things out. Small mistakes and some foolish mistakes. Not even foolish, some foolish attitude of owners, not just mistakes. Some are mistakes, innocent mistakes. They didn't even know that there's a difference between metal and this, that the EWT is supposed to have metal. All they knew that they gave mechanic money, and mechanic even collected money for the so-called original, went and put that nonsense. But it's still a mistake on your part. I don't know how to say that. Because I don't know how I will change. When it comes to a gasket, I will not get involved. I will not make my queries, but everybody is not the same. So, I don't know. So, I just wanted to point this out to educate people. It's not about buying the car now. I'm telling you, going out to buy. You selling the car. These are some mistakes you might make that make somebody who might be willing to buy that car, that amount, or close to that amount you wanted to sell the car, that high amount. For example, you might put a car for 6 million naira. Nigeria use, you might put it 6 million, or for let's just say put it 4 million naira Nigeria use, because it's very clean. If I come and look at the body, everything is okay. But if I open the bonnet and see that paper gasket, the value will drop for me, as far as I'm concerned. Even if I would have recommended the client, no, if you have this 4 million naira, go and buy this car. Don't even waste time. Once I see that paper gasket there, I will just be thinking of maybe tell the client, price it 1.5. If he doesn't agree, walk away. Or matter 2 million naira, because I have to factor in the cost of replacing that engine. Whether the engine is actually good or not, just the head gasket, I will factor it in. Because something could be wrong. It could be that like I said, the worst case scenario start crossing my mind. What if it was the timing valve that got bent? What if they didn't change the valve and did all this 20? What if even if they change the valve, the thing affected the head gas, the cylinder head, and the valves are not working well again, and you'll be making noise over time? What if? And before you know it, I will put it on number 7 on the list. Other ones will be on number 1, number 2, number 3. So I have to now consider other ones before I even get to that. So that's how it is. So I hope this helps. And if it doesn't, well, for those who, so 1 or 2 persons will gain from this. The rest might not understand. They will say, who cares whether I'm the one that will buy the car or so. You always have to find a buyer. So this video is just for those who actually want to be able to sell the car at the higher price they intend to, at least something closer to, so that they will benefit from it. Because you could see a fool you could deceive and sell such messed up car to, and make your money. Anyway, that's up to you.